example of quite a complex problem, like doing machine learning in decentralized way. I will try to explain how the most of complex stuff can be done with Bitcoin in a better way than with Ethereum. And it's against the common belief and arguments of many, so I will try to break these arguments on very discrete examples. First, I will start with the generic counter-arguments and then showcasing how actually you can do very, very complex things. We all know that Bitcoin is a digital programmable money, and it's made of layers. The first layer is Bitcoin blockchain, the second is the Lightning networks. Many more layers, fortunately, will come in the future. And this together renders Bitcoin as an efficient money as a store of value, means of payment, and unit of accounting. Can we define Ethereum in the same way? Yes, it's a collectible mistakes. Because basically Ethereum as a protocol, it doesn't have any proper separation of concerns, abstractions, layers. It makes everything together in the same layer, getting the worst of all worlds. Basically, it leads to unscalability. And you know that scalability is the biggest issue with Ethereum. This protocol says that it allows you to create a complex smart contracts to manipulate what? I don't know what, because Ethereum is not a money, and by Ethereum community itself that define that Ethereum is not a money. So you have no money, but you have smart contracts to manipulate something. Basically, it's tokens. That's where ICO are coming from. And also, it has a Turing-complete smart contract language without formal verification system, but with a JavaScript-like language to probably help hackers break everything. And a lot of non-existing mystical tech there. You know all this name: Casper, post-sharding, Shasper, Plasma, Serenity, Ethereum 2.0. These all animals. Oh, it looks like it's not working. Sorry guys, I can't get my next slide. I have it here, but it's like Ethereum, it breaks everything. Oh yeah, right. So these magical creatures there, on the layer 1, you have accounts instead of a UTX source, you have Turing completeness, sharding, post, whisper, swarm, and on top of that you got mystical non-existing plasma. Everybody talks about that. I didn't have seen it anywhere working. Raiden, which is basically a copy and paste of Lightning Network adapted to accounts instead of UTXO model. And ERC20 Bitcoin, a new proposal for putting Bitcoin onto Ethereum as a ERC20 standard. On top of that, you have dApps that nobody uses, DeFi speculations, hackable DAOs, and unstoppable world single-threaded computer. And on top of that, we have a governance that let's make the government eternal. The actual Ethereum community, unfortunately, so unlucky with the scalability that they came to the idea of using Bcash as a short-term data availability layer for Ethereum, a proposal by Vitalik Buterin himself. So basically it renders that Ethereum is, by the good saying from Adam Back, is a high school science project plus billions of dollars marketing. Why? Well, we heard the answer to that question, and I was even asking Vitalik himself. He came in Tel Aviv to scaling Bitcoin, where he wasn't giving a talk, listening to the developments of Bitcoin technology. So I asked him, why did you mix all the layers into a single one and got so many problems with that? It's just like school error. He said, we can't program Bitcoin due to its limited functionality, and we have to invent. Is that true? No, because LNP allows to do everything that can imaginably be done with Ethereum 2.0, but in more scalable and secure way. So that's enough of jokes, more serious stuff, is that there is more to Bitcoin than just the money. At the blockchain level, we have economically secured, trustless timestamping protocol. And at Lightning Networks level, we have economically incentivized private messaging that can be done with a Lightning Network onion routing. This allows us to talk about Bitcoin and Lightning Network as a set of protocols like TCP/IP, a good idea from Jack Mazuko, that we should name this set of technologies as LNP-BP. And we can leverage a lot of different cool technology here to do very complex things by a lot of off-chain rich state data. It's kind of sharding made right. Staking protocols that allows to put something at stake to participate in a very complex economical games. I will show how to do that. It's like POS without blockchain. And escrows, chains of escrow smart contracts without any Turing completeness. Together, it helps to decentralize a lot of stuff, starting from financial digital assets up to computing, including high-load computing. And these are the projects that we have been involved over the years and presently that allows to achieve that goals. I was approached by some guys from here. They asked me to talk more about these technologies, but unfortunately I don't have time. So I was giving talks last week in Tel Aviv and in Milano, and there will be a meetup by us, by Pandora Core tomorrow, so everybody who would like to get to know more about this tech, I'm inviting to go there. So we can use this tech to build what was promised to build by Ethereum, and even more like computing, including high-load computing. And that's the technology we started with, because originally when we tried to decentralize high-load computing, we believed that it can't be done with Bitcoin, and we were looking at the direction of Ethereum. Unfortunately, it happens that it can't be done with Ethereum, but instead, it can be done with Bitcoin. Why we think about machine learning? Well, I think that machine learning is the last thing that have to be done in order to get ultimate sovereignty, the independence of the person from the state, which can be reached in a very different ways. First, Bitcoin allows and unlocks financial sovereignty. Additionally to Bitcoin, to get that effect, we need to build a technology for financial assets, because there will always be companies, shares, loans, bonds, and other types of financial assets that finally have to be put in a digital form. But then financial sovereignty is not enough without privacy technologies, and there is a number of technologies for doing that being developed today. The next step is the data sovereignty, and it's not that GDPR regulations allow us to achieve. It's instead a set of decentralized protocol which will help to get that. And on top of that, we can build a computational sovereignty when nobody can deny you to compute something. Nobody can deny you to sequence your genome and run some complex machine learning algorithm on top of that, because it's illegal due to some ethical or other reasons. And with all of that, we believe that at some point of time, we can come to ultimate sovereignty, which is a digital immortality. It's, I would say, not decades from now, but maybe even 100 years from now. But without doing these small initial steps, also in other directions, we can achieve that. And I'm glad that within Bitcoin maximalist community, there is a lot of people who believe in that. And in Tel Aviv on scaling Bitcoin, I had very interesting talks with Brian Bishop and Andrew Boelstra, who are also working in this direction and doing a different technology on that. So how we can make that true? Spent tens of years building sovereignty layers one by one, developed layer 2 and real layer 3 technology stack, and extend LNP and BP ecosystem. Make machine learning uncensorable and distributed, scalable and cheap. Use it to innovate up until building generic AI. Invest into biomedical and neurocomputing interface research, merging neural tissue with the computing. And do not do an ICO. Take only those money which are willing to extreme levels of risk. This is what we call a chain of Pandora boxes, and our project is named that's why Pandora box chain. So coming to the topic of the talk, the protocol that allows this scalable, trustless, decentralized computing named Prometheus. And it is a result of combination of some non-Ethereum, non-magical components, which is game theory, settlement model, zero knowledge with a probabilistic checkable proofs, LNP primitives for building complex escrow smart contracts, multi-party payment channels, and reach of state chain with the client-side validation. This, what I will be talking today, it's a result of 2.5 years of scientific research. A lot of funds was put into that, and a number of universities and independent PhDs in our team was collaborating on this research. We basically was able to prove that the setting we are using has a Nash equilibrium. It has well-defined formalism, and we were able to achieve a formal verification of all of these algorithms. We passed through the 2 historical versions of the protocol, and the recent version described in 2 papers like this one. So, let's start with the base algorithm. The protocol works in a way that Alice orders computing from Bob. Alice decides that Carol will partially verify with probabilistic checkable proofs results of the computation. There is also a set of people, actually anonymous set, which can lock their money, put there at stake, with a special transaction type. We name these people arbiters. They will deal with the complex cases when these 3 participants can't reach agreement. Alice puts her payment for computing. The other participants put their stakes into a specially constructed funded transaction. So we have this set of participants doing this kind of jobs. So clients have something to compute, but he doesn't have enough computing power to do that computations. Or he has no access to the data, and the data actually are held by the worker. The worker is doing the actual computation, and he has to have access to the data. Verifier is verifying the results of computing, and arbiters are involved in resolving all the non-cooperative cases. The algorithm works in this way. We start with the setup phase when we create these funding transactions. Then the worker performs actual computing, and if it timeouts, it basically have to lose its stake. Then we have a verification phase. Again, we need to be sure that if verificator didn't deliver the result of verification in time, he also loses something. And depending on the result of verification, verifier either proves that the computation were correct and we have normal settlement, or it says that a worker didn't done actual computation in a correct way. In that case, worker can still appeal to this decision, and if worker wouldn't appeal, the worker basically will lose money. If it will appeal, we will have this set of arbiters to recomputing the whole job, reaching the final decision, and either it is worker who is lying or verifier, and these arbiters will take stake of this lying body. How you can verify computation without doing the actual computations? How you can save a cost on that? Because the actual computing task can last weeks on a very efficient, even on very efficient hardware, and verifier basically, if it would verify the whole of the computing, he will spend twice that amount of money from the client. However, with the probabilistic checkable proofs, a technology known for probably decades in the computer science, we can scale the size of the proof down to a very small amount of computation. I don't have a time to describe how these probabilistic proofs work in all details, but basically you have steps of computing, and you have a state of the virtual machine on each of these steps, and you merkleize these steps, this history of steps, and then you use a hash of the Merkle root to randomly select some particular steps and provide together with a Merkle pass to the verifier. So the verifier can actually do 1% of the total amount of computing and still be sure that the actual computing was correct, because worker can't know the hash of the Merkle root before the doing actual computing. Additionally to that, we use a game theory model, which I wouldn't describe today. We will talk about that more. Sabina, who actually was involved into developing it, will present it tomorrow on the meetup. Basically, this model covers all possible scenarios of timeouts, failed computing, and of course cooperative clauses. Basically, in this setup, we have 7 possible outcomes, numbered from 1 to 7. And for each of those outcomes, we have a model how much money each party should earn or lose and under such conditions. And after we have this game theory setting, we need to put that into a sequence of pre-signed transactions, a form of multi-party payment channel. Basically, there are 8 pre-signed transactions. It doesn't mean that all of them will get on-chain. No. Most of them will never do that, because in case of cooperative settings, only 2 transactions will be ever published. And each transaction constructed in a way that it is pre-signed by some of the parties, displayed in this column, and it is post-signed by some party releasing the proper payment or proceeding to the next step. Plus, it requires sometimes some specific hash lock and time lock in order to be sure that certain conditions are met. These transactions are organized in this tree, and in case of, if everything went together, just a 0 funding transaction, and transaction number 1 will be ever published on chain. Just to compare, when we was trying to do the same algorithm on Ethereum, it was more than 10 transactions required in order to get even simplified version of this protocol to be working. So I wouldn't go into the details how the actual outputs, inputs, and scripts are constructed, but what I would like to show today that there is nothing that you can do with Ethereum that you can't do with the LNP protocol in a more secure and scalable way. And a lot of new tech in this field is coming, including single-use seals, RGB, Spectrum, Storm, Prometheus protocols. Still a lot of work to do. We need probably better sidechains to scale further the speed of high-load computing tasks like machine learning, because still 2 transactions on chain a lot. Multi-party payment channels, Bitcoin blockchain enhancements like Schnorr signatures need to be finally published. And a new cooperation of Bitcoin maximalists, cypherpunks, and business, I hope, will help to drive the further progress, like Adam Beck has said, that with the rise of the price of Bitcoin, we will see more and more exciting transhumanistic projects to come. To find out more, you can check these links. We're basically a company that is working on implementation of many of these technologies, but we are not the only one. We have many other participants working on the similar or the same stuff as well. And I invite all of you to come tomorrow to the meetup to ask more questions and hear more about specific technological detail of this tech. Here are the ways to contact me, and thank you for your attention.